the Spirit Keeper, and I give you a reason for every season. And today, as you can see, we have the Spirit Christmas 2025 Frosty the Snowman animatronic. I do want to apologize in advance as I did lose my voice, so it is a bit raspy. But anyway, on the topic of the animatronic that we do have today, obviously Spirit Christmas stores have been opening up, with the first store opening on October 17th, with that being the flagship location in Mays Landing, New Jersey. And I was able to pick that guy up at the flagship location, and he's definitely my favorite animatronic from Spirit Christmas this year, as I think they've really brought Frosty to life. As you can see already by the front of the box, he looks really movie accurate, and he does actually have a fluffy fur type of texture, which I think is so cool to make it look like that he is actually made of snow. Obviously, Frosty the Snowman is a short film that's around 30 minutes long, and this guy does actually have licensed phrases from the movie, with that being 5 phrases. And he's being retailed for $299.99. And I also do want to say that when I was last at the flagship location, which wasn't too long ago, there were a lot of these guys in stock, so it doesn't seem like he is the hardest animatronic to find this year. So we can now start to preview this guy's box, and honestly on the front, as you saw, we have the big photo of Frosty, and then you have all of the description of basically what he does, and then you even have another picture of him right down there. So you can see, I think it's really cool that they do include some of the cartoon pictures on his box, and also on the top. Let me see if I can show you. Not sure if it's going to be the best look, but it does actually say Frosty the Snowman. So I think that that's really cool that they did put that on the top. And I do really like the backdrops and the overall boxes from Spirit this year, because as you can see, you have snowflakes and everything like that. And I think that the blue and white colors really go nice. Here we have the left side of his box. Obviously, it's showing off his animation where he does lift up his top hat. And then it does also say hand moves and tips hat and up and down. So I think that the animation on this guy is also really neat, but we will talk about that more later. We then have the back of the box, which just says Frosty the Snowman and then all of his cords. And then finally, we have my personal favorite side, which this is him in the snowy backdrop with a nice house. Obviously, this is sort of just a photo with a scene setter in the background just to show off the animatronic, how you would look outside. But he is not outdoor rated, he is more made for indoor use. But I think that's really cool that you do have this photo on the box. So we can now start the unboxing of Frosty the Snowman. So obviously you just want to take these tabs out, and I am going to face the box at the back towards you just so you can see everything a bit better. And actually right here you do have some text, and it says Holiday Tech Squad instead of Zombie Tech Squad. But then this is going to be a pull-out tray, so let me get this out. So here we have the pull-out tray all pulled out. And first off, I'm going to take out his feet, as they are kind of covering up everything else. As you can see, his feet are a nice fur material, and then you do also have some Velcros right there. And then we can go ahead and take out his other foot, which is the same exact thing. Next up, we have all of his clothing for his body, and then we also have his scarf right here. Now we can go ahead and take out the most important part of this animatronic, which is going to be the head. So let's take this out of the plastic, and I'm going to give all of you the first look. So here he is, Frosty the Snowman. Now let's take a look. He looks really awesome. The paint job looks really nice. I like all the colors, the bright red, and then you have the blue right there for the mouth. So overall, his face looks awesome. I'm now going to go ahead and take out his hat, which is just a plain old hat, and then you do have the little flower right there. Next up, we have one of his pieces for the formation right here. We then have another piece right here. I'm now going to take out his power adapter, which is right here. Next up, we can go ahead and take out his base, just 2 regular poles, nothing too special. And then we can go ahead and take out another main part of Frosty, but this is going to be his full torso piece. And this thing is pretty heavy, but obviously, as you can see, the fur isn't on yet, and that's where the clothing does come into play. And then the final part in the box is going to be his instructions in this plastic wrap. So let's get this box out of the way, and then there is also some pieces in his torso, so we can take out both of his arms. So if these will just come on out. There we go. We have one of his arms right here. We can go ahead and take this out. This is the one with his cigar. And then again, nice fur material. And then we can go ahead and take out his other arm if it will come out. Here it is. So we do have his other arm right here. And this one does have the white thing for the hat to go on. Again, you can see all of that Velcro right there. And this is where the hat will connect to. So we can now go ahead and start the setup for Frosty. So you want to take your base, and then you do have both of his feet. They are both labeled B, so it doesn't matter which foot goes on which leg. So you can just go ahead and slide them both down, just like that. Make sure the pole is exposed. So we can now go ahead and take Frosty's costume, and there are Velcros which make it easier. And then you just want to slide it over his feet. So we're just going to do it like that, and then you can connect it to the Velcros that are on his feet. I'm not going to go crazy with the Velcros right now. You just want to actually put it on. So then the other Velcro, we can go ahead and Velcro that. And then we're going to slide it over. And then we can Velcro part of it so then it does stay, just like that. So we can now go ahead and take his control box and then just connect it to all the poles. You do want to Velcro down his clothing so you can access all the poles and everything. So you want to line it up. Just like that, and now we can go ahead and snap lock these in. So let's push it down. There you go, just like that. His control box is on. So we're now going to go ahead and do a separate step from the actual building of this guy, which is going to be connecting these two things together. So what you want to do is you just want to line everything up. So the top one will go, actually this doesn't look completely right. I think I might have it on the wrong side. So let's go ahead, flip it like that. And now, yep, this looks much better. We can go ahead, connect this into there, do the same thing with the bottom. This reminds me a bit of Barnaby's build from Spirit Halloween. It's just that this is quite a bit more annoying because whenever I put one in, the other isn't going in. But there you go, just like that. We have one side, and now I'm going to go over here, and then we can do this other side. You want to make sure that they're both lined up because you can't really put one in and then the other just doesn't really work like that for some reason. Now you just want to go ahead and push on that, and now we can do the same thing over here. Just make sure it's pushed in because you don't want this coming out. So let's go ahead, push. Seems pretty good, so now we can go ahead and do the next step. So now let's go ahead and take our thing that we just built, and we want to slide it down. Honestly, as you can see, there are 2 prongs right there and 2 prongs on the bottom. So the whole point of this is horse formation. So we're just going to try and line everything up. This is definitely a tedious step because it's just like actually putting this thing together. Nothing really lines up together smoothly. So you really have to just push. As you can see, this one over here isn't going in, but there you go. And now we can go ahead and pull up the clothing around it. So this might take a couple minutes just because of how big this piece is, but you do just want to go ahead and pull up his clothes. We can now go ahead and do one of the most difficult steps, which is going to be attaching this huge torso piece to this little small connector. So it's kind of hard to see on camera, but you just want to line it up. It's much easier to do in person than it is to see on camera. So now I have it lined up, and there you go. You could hear that. The snap lock is all good. And same thing as the other step, you want to go ahead and now pull his clothing back out. This part's going to be pretty annoying, but it is good that it is a stretchy material, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I just connected all of his wires off camera because one of the wires was bent, but we're back. So I'm going to go ahead and attach his arm now. So as you can see, there is that little black prong that's right up there. I don't know where it went anymore, but here it is. And then you just have to connect his arms. This is kind of tricky because there's kind of like no room to work with the sleeve being so tight. So it's kind of just feeling your way around. So I'm going to go ahead and then just connect that in. Now that the arm's in, we can go ahead and take all of his clothing and we can just wrap it around and Velcro it. But you do have to pull on it a tiny bit. There you go. And just want to wrap it around so you can't see any of the metal or any of the Velcros. So it looks all like snow. So you can just go ahead and Velcro all this. So we can now go ahead and attach his hand with the hat that will go right on here with the Velcro, as you can see. And this one is a bit easier because the clothes kind of work better just because they're not the same exact material. And actually, the more I'm looking at this, I do realize that you do need cotter pins. I don't believe for the other one, but let's go ahead and grab that cotter pin. Never mind, there is no cotter pins. It just looks like there is because there's a hole right there in the pole. But now, same thing. You just want to go ahead and Velcro this. This one's a bit trickier because it's higher up. and you do have to reach it. So we're just gonna go ahead, Velcro all of this. And now one of the hardest parts is coming up. That's gonna be the hat. Now it's super easy to connect, but to make it actually look good, it's definitely going to be tricky. So that's definitely gonna take a bit. But there you go, I'm gonna fix this up a bit, but that's kind of what it's supposed to look like. So we can now go ahead and attach a scarf. And this guy is kind of small when he's not on the riser, but there's tons of snow from his fur, like his clothing, all over the place. So do beware of that. It gets really messy with all of that like fake snow that is for his clothing. There you go, you just want to lay the scarf like this. And now it's time for one of the best parts of this setup, with this being his head. So what we're going to do is just slide this over his head, which is where the hat is supposed to go. And then you just want to sort of line it up and connect his head. This is kind of tricky just because it's really hard to see. So sorry for not talking too much because I'm trying to concentrate on this because it is a bit tricky, like I said. Now I'm going to pull this scarf out because his head is pretty much connected, and you can see where his hat will go right there. So we can now go ahead and attach his hat, which I'm honestly going to have to fix this after, but honestly, doesn't look the greatest right now. You do definitely want to actually fix his hat, which you want to do something like this just over and over until it actually stays. And his hat also isn't on the greatest, so you do just want to push down, and then you should be able to get his hat styled nicely, and then we'll be on to the actual demos of Frosty during the day and the night.
Happy birthday! Hey, I said my first words, but Snowman can't talk. Could I really be alive? I can make words, I can move, I can juggle, I can swim, I can count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 6, 8, well, I can count to 5. I am alive! What a neat thing to happen to a nice guy like me. I'll be back on Christmas Day! The only place I'd never melt is the North Pole.
So there he was, Frosty the Snowman, all the demos, and overall, I am very happy with how this animatronic looks, sounds, and the animation wise. Now overall, I would have to rate this guy a 10 out of 10 in my personal opinion, just because I like the Frosty character in general and how they brought him to life. And I think the animation is very fitting with him lifting up his top hat. I think that was really good, and it's actually pretty well hidden, I will say, because the thing that's on his head is white, so it blends in. And then the actual thing with the hat, I wish that they sort of almost stopped the white paint right there and then did it black to blend in with the hat when he does lift it up. But that's okay, it's not that big of a deal. But overall, I think that Frosty is definitely one of my favorite animatronics of all time. I would say that Frosty's price of $299.99 is definitely worth it, considering that you're getting a really well-made animatronic, as even he's made of fur, which they could have just made it like a latex or anything like that. Latex probably wouldn't have been the best way to go, but you kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. I think it's really awesome that they do have this soft sort of texture for the snow, and I think the paint job on this guy, the paint job is really spot on. Even the cigar right here, you can see the paint job looks really nice. It looks like a real wooden cigar. And then you also have the hat. This isn't really a paint job, but I still think it looks really nice. The flower looks nice, and then you have his nose, the mouth, and then the scarf is definitely a really nice touch. I know he has that, and it's kind of necessary. The only thing I wish is that maybe instead of the cigar, he had his broom or something like that. I think that that would have looked cool as well, but I think that the cigar is also a nice addition for a little prom. I also want to compliment that Frosty has 5 different phrases, which typically we get 2 to 3 phrases per animatronic. But when it comes to 5, I think that that is really cool, just because when they're going on a loop, like say you do a display for Christmas and they go off and on and off and on, and then they just keep repeating the same 2 or 3 phrases, it really gets repetitive. But with him having 5 phrases, I think that's a really nice addition, because you have 5 different tracks that he can't say compared to 2 or 3 that just repeat continuously. Now, I do want to say that the arm mechanism on my specific Frosty isn't the most fluid, but I'm sure WD-40 can fix that or something. But I've seen on other Frosties, and especially at the flagship, it is much more fluid compared to mine where it's kind of jagged. So do keep that in mind if you are skeptical about getting him because of that reason. He does have some really fluid arm animation when he does lift up his top hat. You just probably need some WD-40 or something like that. And I also like that he is a hard plastic underneath, as you can hear. I think that that's really nice compared to anything like just strictly the fur. I think that the plastic underneath is a nice touch. And also his feet look really nice. They're also a blown molded plastic. And then his head especially. I think that his head is well made. But once again, don't keep this guy outdoors. I also don't really recommend keeping him under a porch just because he is white, so he's bound to get dirty really easily. So that's just some of my opinions. One final thing I want to say is to help with the hat. Now honestly, the hat, it does look a lot better to when I first put it on, but overall, what you mainly have to do is you want to take these sides and especially the front. When I first got the hat, the front was up a lot, and you really just need to push it down, and I really want to cover on this because I haven't seen many unboxings cover on how to actually style the hat to make it look good, so I definitely want to go over that. And then what you want to do is you just want to almost raise this up, just like how I'm doing, and same with the front, just like that, until it looks something like this. And once again, you want to bend this down when the hat isn't actually on his head, so definitely keep that in mind if you do want to make the hat look decent. Well, there you have it, the Frosty the Snowman animatronic from Spirit Christmas for 2025. Make sure to let me know your thoughts on this guy down in the comments below. But anyways, make sure you remember that I'm a spirit keeper and I give you a reason for every season. Bye.